Welcome back, everybody. And hi, Jen.
Hi, everyone.
Good to see you
Hey,
again.
Scott. It's great to see you. And this is a hot topic, by the way, what we're about to discuss.
It's kind of the entryway, I think, for just about everybody into the idea that speaking is a skill. Don't you think?
Well, yes, because this topic, I believe, affects everybody.
Yeah.
I believe everyone is guilty of this bad habit.
Yeah.
It's a bad habit. We'll call it that.
Right. And what is the bad habit called?
Filler words and filler statements.
Yeah. So wait, what?
A filler word is a single word. So, right? Like, and then there's the weird noise, the.
Yeah, those are sounds. So there's filler sounds, filler words. And I just said HE double hockey stick. Am I allowed to swear on our podcast?
You'll be the first to do it between the two of us, so I highly encourage it.
Okay, maybe I might have to beep that out. We'll see. All right.
So filler statements it's a statement that you say over and over and over.
Example?
And an example would be, like you can see.
Like you
can see.
Yeah.
In fact, I have a story. About this, Scott.
Okay, do share.
A couple of months ago, I did a 40-hour road trip. And I downloaded a few podcasts, excited to hear these podcasts. They have great reviews, and I was looking forward to learning and listening. So I started one of the podcasts, and it was a group of women, 2-3 women. And one of the women who was talking quite often, every few words, she snuck in the word like.
Yeah.
And I know I'm overly sensitive to filler words. I hear them instantly. And I was really hoping, Scott, that she would stop saying the word like. However, it never changed. And her message was good. She had a great story to tell. However, like snuck in a million times. I had to turn off the podcast. And it was just a reminder of, oh my gosh, she really had a great story to share. And the filler took it all away.
Yeah. Well, there's one thing I wanted to point out, or a couple of things I wanted to point out. One is that it's not a gender thing either. I mean, it's
no.
People sometimes think, well, it's women that do it. No.
Really? I've never heard that.
Well, that's more with up talking, but sometimes there's these weird things that it's some kind of, it's like a Valley Girl thing or something. No, it's not. There are plenty of men, plenty of women.
Yes, all over.
It's all over. But here's a couple of things. One is, I would say it erodes a listener's sense of their sort of respect and trust in you. It's one of these behaviors where the opposite of it, when you're speaking in a clean sentence, first word to period, is associated with a kind of executive presence, so to speak,
yes.
A leadership kind of presence. So when you speak with what I call fragmentation, it's the filler words are there, but it's really that you're breaking up sentences and not speaking first word to period. And in those gaps, you fill them with sounds and words and statements. The other thing to recognize is not only, it erodes or corrodes your impact on other people. It's understandable because most people, when they learn to talk, they do it through imitation and mimicry. Right? How did you learn to talk?
Yes, Scott.
Why are you laughing at me again?
Give it to us.
Okay. Imitation and mimicry. Think about it. We don't think in most cultures, we don't think of speaking really as a skill. We just do it. It's like walking, you just kind of think it's this thing that happens, but we learn to speak then through through imitating our parents. And then we get into school systems and we imitate our peers. We get into work and we imitate the people around us there. But unconsciously, we start to adopt a lot of stuff. And part of what we adopt is these poor habits, these less desirable speaking habits. And they just kind of sink in there. So it's not really, I know you're angry at people that use filler words.
I try not to be.
But we have to be understanding because they get in there because we don't culturally teach speaking as a real skill. And if we did, then when kids were 7 or 8 years old, we would really, really focus in on that and have classes. Say, let's work on your sentence structure and let's work on this thing.
Yes, that is a great thing to consider when someone is 7 or 8 years old. And as a professional adult, Scott, it's about having that self-awareness. Are you present enough when you are speaking that you actually hear the words that you are saying? Because if you're truly being intentional and hearing what you are saying, you would notice those filler words.
Yeah.
I believe that a lot of presenters, they're not aware. They're not aware of what their filler is. And that is, I believe, the best first step is to identify, whether it's asking a trusted colleague or friends or family, ask, what is my filler or fillers? And that is the first step. And then start listening for them. Start listening, because until you can actually hear yourself saying it, it's probably not a habit that's going to end.
Yeah. We've mentioned awareness as being so important. And you can gain awareness through people telling you. You can gain awareness through videotaping yourself or just audio recording yourself and listening back to it and listening closely to the pattern. And you'll see, oh, my sentences fragment and I bring this word all the time. I say, and like, or and so. But I want to bring up something that's really important. And that is, I think a lot of our coaching colleagues, they will ring a bell and call it out and say, don't say that word. And that is no way to learn to get rid of filler words by just highlighting the error.
How do we get rid of them?
Well, I try to help people discover what they've never really had before, which is, what is it like to experience speaking from first word to period without a filler?
Yes.
And they have to work really hard because it's in the habit. It's part of their habit pattern. So they have to concentrate and focus, and it's very awkward. They get through 1, 2, or 3 sentences without the filler, and I'm like, good, okay.
They can feel the difference.
They can, and it's a fight. It's a little bit of a fight because the habit is there and it's strong. So what I want to remind our listeners is, it isn't about eliminating and attacking your filler word. It's knowing that it's there. It's being aware. But it's about pursuing complete sentences, first word to period.
And that's the key, Scott, is once you've identified what your filler word is, what can you replace it with? Can you replace it with a pause? Can you replace it with a period? And I love the recording piece, because I can tell someone what their filler is until they hear it, until they hear themselves speaking it. That's when it's the most impactful.
Yeah. So let's wrap this up in as tidy a way as we can for these wonderful folks. Filler words are so frustrating. What, other than learning your filler word, what other things would you leave people with so that they can make progress toward eliminating these things?
To be patient with yourself, that it truly is a habit that you need to break. I tend to give it about a 60-day window. If you're going to be truly intentional with wanting to remove a filler out of your vocabulary, don't beat yourself up every time you hear yourself saying it, because that's the first step, is hearing yourself say it. That's a great step. It's acknowledging it. And I believe the more you acknowledge it, the habit starts to weaken.
Yeah. And I would say think, look, if you can, get yourself into that practice mode that we discussed a couple episodes ago, where it's just you in your office, put up some pictures, talk to these faces, and practice speaking in sentence and start in little bits, 1 sentence, 2 sentences, 3 sentences. Use content you're familiar with and speak. And when you go through several sentences without the filler words, speaking first word to period in each sentence, give yourself a pat on the back and go for more. Try 4, then try 5, then try 6. And if you do that for 60 days, if you practice like that just for 3 or 4 minutes every day, I don't know if I'd say I guarantee it, but I'd say it's a 90% money back guarantee. Wonderful work. What are we talking about next week?
Well, our next episode is going to beautifully tie in filler words because it's about our speaking pace.
Yeah.
And for a lot of presenters that speak too quickly, there are a million little fillers that are being put into those sentences, and there's no period. There's no audible period.
Yeah. And I want people to listen, because sometimes what people perceive as a pace issue, that I'm speaking too fast, is not a pace issue. It's something related to what you just said. But we won't tell. You have to listen next week.
Excellent.
So thank you, everybody, for listening today. We'll see you in a week. Have a good one.
Bye.